All right, welcome back to the Dev Coaches Podcast today. In studio today, we have Morgan Willis, Pat Toner, Sarah Dutkiewicz, myself, Dave Balzer, Randall Clapper, and Amanda Gragg. And online, we have Matt LoPiccolo joining us. So, Matt, I'm going to let you pick one of those topics we were looking at and kind of introduce it. Surprise us.
Oh, you're going to let me pick? Oh, that's a dangerous thing to do.
No, topic roulette. Can we handle this?
Oh, that's what we need. We need a spinner. That would make this even better. True topic roulette. We'll get right on that. I think that'll be a great addition.
Practice programming number 5 is now podcast topic selector.
Yeah.
Yes, I like it. We can make that happen. Slave labor is always good.
Yeah.
Isolate that.
Yeah,
And
I was
make
gonna
that
say,
the headline.
Exactly. Let's cut that. It's perfect. Soundbite.
Soundbite there. Yep.
Oh yeah, very good. You're all welcome. All right. Well, I think the one that really caught my eye was there's a article that was posted on CNET. Titles baseball pitches augmented reality to catch fans.
That's good.
That's
Play.
perfect. Anyway, so while the title is probably a little misleading, it looks like there's an application either in demo or soon to launch about AR, like actually in the baseball stadium. So it's kind of showing people with their iPads or phones kind of looking at information and statistics, kind of live on site at a baseball game. And I think that's a really interesting use of augmented reality and kind of, at least for some people might be like, especially the stat heads, like that's got to be an additive to an already good experience. And I'm curious that we haven't seen more of that come out in other arenas.
So how's this going to work? Like, it's on your phone?
Yeah, it looks like from at least the demo pictures that I can see on the article, that you open up the app, it opens up your camera, and then it's able to either read, probably not from the camera itself, but probably from some information in the arena. Who's
the
playing what
baseball
position?
arena.
Sorry, it's stadium. Same difference. I'm not a baseball guy. Don't make fun of me, Pat. Pick the baseball one for you. See, I'm getting crapped on already. Let's pick a different topic. Dang it.
No, it's good. But okay, so you're not wearing like glasses.
No. It looks like it's getting ported right through the phone. So
yeah, essentially
extra
you bring up
peripherals.
your device, the camera's showing you the view of the field, and from, like you said, from the demo pictures, it might highlight a player and give you their stats breakout right there live.
Yeah, it's AR, not VR.
Yeah. So, most likely what it will probably be using is, you can probably tell where the camera is pointing.
Mm-hmm.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So where the camera is pointing, how you are based off your ticket number or something like that. I would imagine you can probably log in or at least it will register some kind of GPS. But it can be able to figure out, where you're at, point it, and then, render, where you would have been, what you should see, and then kind of just augment that over.
So,
Because
one of the first things that I think of whenever I see this is like, you've ever been to an event or a concert where somebody's standing in front of you and recording the entire thing with their iPads?
Yeah,
And
now
how annoying
everybody's
that
going to be
is?
holding
Yeah.
up their
That's
iPad.
super annoying.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of this. It's like, I'm going to be sitting behind somebody and they're going to stand up with their iPad for 5 minutes and then you can't see anything and it'll just be generally annoying. But I can see why it's definitely like cool for the statistics and stuff, but that's just the first place that I went whenever I started reading this
Yeah.
article.
That's what I was thinking, like parents going to graduations and stuff, and they're all standing with their iPads. Not another event like that. Please let
I want
people
graduation
appreciate the event.
stats.
Well, and
so I see they did not turn in their homework in last week.
yeah.
No. Just the people standing in the way with the devices. It's like, okay, I just was here to see this event, not your butt, not your iPad. I want to see the game that's on the other side of you. You make a better door than a window. Get the hell out of my way.
So let's take the AR a little bit, step forward then. If it wasn't with an iPad, if it was more with like a visor or device like the HoloLens, is that something that you would help, that industry go forward more?
I think it's, I don't know, maybe, but like just the baseball game one, unless you're going to the game by yourself, like everybody who's with you is going to be annoyed that you're like paying attention to the screen and not talking to them.
Well,
Right.
on the other hand, you could be like passing it down with, hey, check this out. And, I can see the allure of it. And I almost wonder if it's these types of things that will drive this industry to actually advance.
It makes me wonder, like, what's actually producing the stats, though? Like, is
Yeah.
it you holding up your iPad and the camera? Like, where are
So-
these things coming from? Because
so-
I guess why do we need? Okay.
It's tied. I know it's tied into like the Major League Baseball at-bat app. So I'm sure they're feeding.
Like, but if you're at the stadium, the stats are everywhere.
Right. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like,
Like, yeah.
if they're coming from somewhere else, why do we need somebody to stand up with their iPad and point it at the field when in reality we already have these statistics and you can just get like a feed some other way?
They just want, the people more involved, and be annoying for the person sitting behind them.
Yeah.
So.
Sarah doesn't want to see your butt.
Right.
You make a better door than a window.
So.
Out of my way.
So, one way, I could see them doing this is that, very similar to the Google Constellation app, where, it takes your GPS, you point your phone up, and it will show what constellation you're underneath. They're probably going to do something very similar to where, if you hover, your camera this way, these certain data points show up,
That makes
within
more
this field.
sense.
All right. Matt, which platform was this for?
I believe it was being demoed on an Apple device.
Okay, because I know both
Yes.
the Apple region and the Google stuff both released AR kits recently, and so we're going to see a lot more AR. Yeah, if you do a search for iPhone or Android and AR, you'll start to see a couple of other things. I know AR kit's one of them because there was another article that came out where they showed these people replacing IKEA furniture on a subway platform. It was hysterically stupid, but at the same time, it was cool to see the point of AR.
Yeah, and in fact, to back up, I saw part of this article was linked with the recent iOS 11 reveal. They had video of it as part of the reveal.
Yeah, and I know that the iPhone is doing that, and then select Android things, because a friend of mine mentioned they were doing AR development, and they said right now it was like the Samsung, the S8, and a couple others. There's a few.
Asus ARs.
Yeah.
One of the first Google Tango project phones.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more AR as these kits are starting to be released. Right now, it's a select handful of devices that support them.
And I'm split on it right now. I think there's some cool ideas and cool things you could do with it, and yet at the same time, I'm kind of like you guys. It's like I could get those stats other places. Why do I care?
Like, it seems like an in-between step,
Yeah.
because what you really probably want is this stuff just, like, overlaid on glasses or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to look at a different screen and, like, completely take yourself out of it. But if you're watching a game and suddenly you see the same stats that you would get used to seeing on TV, and it's just happening on the field in front of you, like, maybe that's not the worst.
Yeah.
I just wonder how big of a market there is for this sort of thing, because I feel like most of the time when most people go to baseball games, like it's a social thing and they aren't that big about the statistics. So I mean, like, it's cool and it's interesting, but at the same time, like, I know I wouldn't be. I mean, then again, I'm not super into sports anyways, but I mean, I know a lot of people that go to games all the time that they probably still wouldn't use it.
I really like baseball stats. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I still would never even consider doing this for more than maybe as a gimmick. Like, hey, check this out for 2 seconds, everybody, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, a gimmick. I feel that way about a lot of things that I read these days. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I agree with you. I used to hate baseball, honestly. I just couldn't stand it. Too slow of a game. All that. And somebody says, hey, you're a developer. You love data. You love numbers. This is great. Stats are... And that's when I fell in love with the game.
Yeah.
I love the stats. I watch that.
Baseball in particular tends to be stat-driven, too.
Yeah, it really is. Everything about it. And from a data perspective, from a developer's perspective, the data fascinates me. But on the flip side, when I go to a game, I could care less about any of that stuff. I want the experience of being in the ballpark.
I wouldn't mind things like notifications about people on my fantasy team, though, while I'm there.
So that's an interesting point with fantasy teams being a more popular thing, nowadays.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, it's a gimmick because you have a device you're popping up. If they can take that barrier away where, you're just wearing glasses or, I think it was 5 years ago that they were actually messing around with contact lenses, having a screen in there. If you can take that barrier away and have that, stats projected, would you do something like that?
I mean, it really depends what that looks like. If it's
So as long as you don't look like, an idiot, you're good.
no, what I meant was like if it's a hassle for even 2 seconds, it's not worth it. But if it's just there in, I don't know, say I'm already wearing some sort of, I don't know.
Like glasses, just like normal pair of glasses, put them on.
Sunglasses.
Okay,
Yeah,
you know what
like
this reminds me
sunglasses.
of? You remember pop-up video? Okay.
Yes.
So just like little extra blurbs that come up when you're watching a music video.
Yes.
All right, so if I at that point was like, okay, now go get your phone and hold it up to the TV, and I'll give you little pop-up blurbs about the video. I'm not going to do that, but they're already there, so like that's good. I'll read them.
That's
and
the next
interesting.
Snapchat feature. You're going to be walking down the street taking video of people and it'll pop up facts about their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you guys probably don't know this, but there's a game out called Watch Dogs, and Watch Dogs has almost that exact feature where the dude has his phone and he can look up like their entire lives. There are a couple of Easter eggs in the game, like where one person's Bruce Wayne. If you can find him, it like gives you Bruce Wayne's background, and it was really funny. But it's funny you mentioned that because that's one of the functions of the game to help you figure out how to navigate it, and that's, while funny, kind of frightening and a very real possibility.
Yeah, definitely.
I know Facebook's looking at doing some kind of AR thing to where you can be able to face match someone and bring up their Facebook profile.
So it's a lot like Terminator.
Oh, here we go.
Exactly like Terminator.
The step before it, like maybe 100 steps before, but
Well, this is one of
No,
the
it's
steps.
one step away.
Yeah.
Wait, were there robots in the Terminator? How far is that from the robot apocalypse?
Oh, Sarah, you brought it up, didn't you?
I had to. Sorry.
There was an article. I'm trying to remember. I intentionally did not include it.
Can't imagine why.
It was something about it was Putin had said whoever controls AI controls the world.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's us.
Hopefully. Yeah. I think we're a little behind the ball on that getting started.
I think
there.
we're behind everybody.
Yeah.
But we got the baseball thing, so
Yeah,
you know what?
we got like a ton of gimmicks going on. So we're
Right. So what else we got, Matt?
Putin said, who controls baseball overlay stats.
Yes. That's definitely it. Definitely it. All right, well, let's see. What other topics do we have? I'll try not to make this one baseball related. This will be an interesting one. Speaking of probably not world domination, but at least a little bit more world connectivity. Microsoft, Facebook complete transatlantic marina internet cable. Internet cable runs from Virginia Beach, Virginia to Balbio, Spain. Yep, transmit 160 terabits of data per second.
That's a lot.
That's 71 million concurrent streaming videos. Is what this article said. Yeah.
So that's good, right?
So my question is, how is it that Microsoft and Facebook have that much money?
And the fact that they,
Like, why did they need this?
well, and how long did it take them to complete that? I mean, it was a very short time.
It took
too.
them about a year. And so we were saying, like, we can't even get potholes fixed for 5 years around here in Akron, but they can lay this all the way across the ocean in a year.
Yeah.
Good.
So from the Microsoft side, they said it's going to certainly, help to bolster cloud computing services, Azure on their particular end, by giving more reliable and quicker access internationally.
So cable companies are bullshit. Just for the mere fact that they're saying that you can only have this much speed for an outrageous amount of money, and they're never going to really raise it unless they have to.
Yeah, the article said that this cable will transmit data 16 million times faster than the average user's connection.
So what happened to Google? Like
Well, I mean,
Google
okay, so-
Fiber, that in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Apparently they just diverted all that money to the ocean.
I don't think this is Google. Then you say it's Microsoft,
It's Microsoft
and
and
Yeah,
Facebook,
Microsoft
yeah.
and Facebook.
So is this going to be used by other people or just Microsoft and Facebook?
I don't know. It wasn't really clear. It's going to be operated. There is a third-party telecommunications company that they contracted with to do it, and they're going to operate it. But I don't know if this is going to be a private connection that they're using. It really wasn't clear,
How do they defend these things?
right?
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Do they have armies of Facebook, like a Facebook pirate ship?
The Facebook Navy and the Microsoft Navy are protecting this at all times.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't. It's a good question.
How does one enlist in the Facebook Navy? Do they recruit?
They must.
Queue up
You
village
have
people.
to post blogs and be a troll on Facebook.
You have to spread fake news on
yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
We could get on
I can
that.
do that.
That's easy enough.
I'm glad you're all motivated by that. It's very, very encouraging to hear.
We could share our lunch stories on Facebook.
I
What
know.
happens when we play The Sims?
Yeah.
We don't need to go there.
Amanda, what happens whenever you play The Sims?
I don't play The Sims, and now I'm disillusioned by The Sims. So, sorry, you guys have ruined my daughter's access to video games.
They say this thing weighs 10.25 million pounds.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's as much as 34 blue whales. And I don't know why that seems like a weird comparison to make. It's like, oh, I knew exactly how much a blue whale was before. So
And it's only
thank you.
34 blue whales.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's not that many. This is good. No worries.
What other things do we measure in blue whales?
Blue whales. That's about it.
That's
We
the other
measure blue
thing.
whales and blue
Yeah,
whales.
it's a very precise unit of measurement. 1.1 blue whales.
Is there a metric conversion to that?
Yeah. The metric blue whale.
How many ounces are in one blue whale?
I feel like that's going to be a very big number.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
true.
I wonder what Google says when I Google it.
I'm gonna guess a blue whale weighs like, I guess math. We could do math. How many? Okay.
You see this?
I saw the second result. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just let the listeners at home Google that for themselves.
What are we Googling or not Googling?
How many ounces in one blue whale?
That doesn't sound promising.
No.
No.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So, based on the reaction over there, I'm saying that we probably should recommend our younger viewers don't Google that.
They'll learn some science.
Okay.
They're going to learn some things they didn't want to know about.
Are we
blue
getting
whales.
the not safe for work label on this one?
No one
We,
said anything.
we didn't say anything. In fact, we warned people against it.
Don't search that. That's really bad.
Okay. Moving on.
All right, well, I'll let you guys pick the next subject because that went so well.
It was good.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
We got this hamburger flipping robot,
What?
Flippy.
Flippy.
Yeah.
He's in his final form now.
Do we have to pay him $15 an hour?
I don't know. I don't think so.
He needs to feed his robot family, so he needs minimum wage.
He can flip burgers.
But Flippy has gone beyond prototype stage and theory and actually is being implemented by a chain of restaurants out in California.
Oh,
Which
really?
chain?
Yeah. What's the name of it? It's in the article. I can't remember.
Cali Burger?
Cali Burger.
Can you custom order? Like say well done, medium well?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Good
I didn't.
question.
Because I don't eat anything other than well done. So,
Are you ruined?
right.
Yeah.
I assume that they can do custom things.
That'd be great then.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you read this, it's like the robot hasn't changed too much since its earliest days. Flippy is still essentially an industrial robotic arm. So
Yeah.
that's it.
So whatever
That's
you
the whole
tell the
thing.
arm to do, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there again, for Phil's benefit, it's replacing jobs.
But like not
Poor
just
Phil.
not just burger flipping jobs. think of any job where you stand and do stuff with your arms.
Repetitively.
Yeah. This thing is going to have all those jobs.
Yes.
Professional weightlifters.
My robot can lift more than your robot.
Exactly.
Competitions get a little boring at that point.
I mean, it looks neat. I wonder what other things you could program this thing to do.
I'm sure you've seen The Big Bang Theory, right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
The robotic hand episode?
No.
I didn't see
All
that
right,
one.
then.
Well, what was it?
Not fit for air.
And yet they played it on
Yeah, it
television.
was on CBS, apparently.
Okay, so that goes along with the
Yeah.
Blue Whale art.
Sounds like
So
that
I want that as a
episode's not you
snippet,
for
though. The not fit for air.
Yeah.
Yeah, use that as a soundbite.
Is this thing clean?
Not after what she was talking about.
This is definitely not E for everyone.
No, I meant. Okay.
Is Flippy clean?
Yeah. What happens when meat gets stuck in it?
I would imagine like any other utensil, you'd have to clean it off.
So, yeah. Is somebody constantly scrubbing down Flippy?
Well, think about it. How do you clean a spatula or something? You
I have
wipe
no
it off,
idea.
right?
They probably have a protective covering.
Yeah, something.
You guys are
Randall are
awful.
not mature enough
You're
for this
awful.
conversation.
No, you guys are not. Good thing I can mute my mic from this end.
I think we're all about 13, maybe, in humor.
That's about right.
Oh, so this thing is going to cost $60,000.
Yikes.
Okay, so Flippy costs $60,000, and yikes! I hear yikes, right? How many man hours is that for the company to pay out?
At current wages, it's infinity man hours.
Right.
Because they don't pay them. That's the joke.
I get it, but seriously, I mean, think about it.
It's not that. Yeah, it's not that
It's
many.
not that much. It's a small investment in terms of wages.
Well, but then, it is a small investment in terms of wages. But okay, so it costs $60,000. What do you think it's going to cost when this thing breaks?
Yeah, because you need somebody to fix it mechanically.
Yeah.
Keep it well lubed.
Yeah. It's definitely
Oh, this one spun out of control.
Yes, it did.
It
Very
flipped out of
quickly.
control.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. The cost to fix it if it goes bad.
Yeah,
Somebody-
Replacement parts,
Oh,
other
right.
things.
Yeah, I could probably make the same argument for us humans that they have to pay insurance and stuff for when we break, right?
right.
Yep.
So it's probably no different. They would probably take out some kind of insurance plan or thing on Flippy to make sure if he would ever break that it would be covered.
I think you would just compare it to factories in general. I mean, they're used to fixing their own machines. Machines put people out of business, but you still have people to run the machines. So it's going to change the workforce. It's not going to completely eliminate it, but it will shrink the need.
Yes,
Yeah.
it will reduce the workforce.
Well,
that they
it'll
have to pay.
completely change the job from one that we currently give to people that, people tend to think that takes no skill, right? To one that's going to take a whole lot of skill that you're going to have to train a really long time to learn the skill.
Only the people that are fixing it, which you wouldn't need all the time. So I worked in the office for a factory at one point, and there were a lot of unskilled workers that came in, and they, picked up the finished product, put it in the box, picked up the finished product, put it in the box. That was their life. So you're going to pick up the hamburger, put it in the bag,
Yeah.
hopefully get the right one.
Right.
But right?
She wants her well done one, please.
Yeah, but then you have the one person who gets paid a heck of a lot more to come fix it when there's a problem. And unfortunately, you'd also have the problem of if it does go down, you're losing a lot of valuable sales
time.
because, people aren't going to want to sit and wait
I
3
have-
hours for their hamburger, hopefully.
That's true. And actually, now that I think about it, the $60,000, you don't compare to like one person.
Right.
Because this thing can run 24 hours a day.
Right.
Like there's no, it's
Doesn't
three,
need breaks.
it's essentially three people in one.
So I have a family member who works for one of the major pharmacy chains. And his job is he goes around and fixes their automated photo labs. Okay. Used to be you had people developing pictures and all this. Now he works and he covers 60 stores, and he just goes around and fixes them. And they employ him full time. So instead of having somebody employed full time at all those stores to deal with photos, they have one person who goes around and maintains some equipment.
Yeah, that's true. It's like even if it does create other jobs, which it will,
It
there's
will.
like so fewer, because you only need one guy for 60 stores versus 180 people.
Right.
Right.
So it's really the workforce is moving to a different skill.
Well, it's not just moving. You're
Forcing it.
there, but what is going to okay? So we've got one way better job for that one guy, and now we have 179 other people who still have no skills and don't have that job to do anymore. Like at some point, we're probably going to run out of these super low skilled things to do, especially when it comes time to when we have robot arms that you can just do this repetitive task, and you don't need breaks, you don't need health insurance, you don't need pensions, you don't need anything. You just need fixed every once in a while.
It's also like when Amazon, though, opened that test store where you walk in, you don't have to ring out your groceries, you just walk out and they know what you've bought. I mean, that's a neat idea to participate in, but not if you're the employee. I hate going to the grocery store and going through the checkout my own things.
Yeah.
I always feel guilty, even if
Why?
it's faster,
Why do you feel guilty?
because there's less people that they have to have working the register. I'm participating in them making it easier for me to get out, which is great. Makes me happy if I'm in a super hurry, so I do cave occasionally. But usually I will stand in the line with 10 other people in front of me, make them ring it out, make them put it in bags, and I thank them. And then, they're pretty happy to have a job. So if I have all the lines are at the self-service, they're just going to have everybody out stocking, not staff the cashiers up front, less jobs.
It's definitely gonna be less jobs.
Yeah.
Do you,
But like you have that perspective because you lived in a time whenever those were jobs.
Right.
There's going to be tons of people who have eventually all that's going to fade away, and like no one's even going to remember that was a job.
Yeah.
do you use an ATM machine?
Yes.
Yeah. Mobile banking?
Yes.
I've seen stats on how much impact that's had on the banking industry in terms of jobs. The people that used to have to be there for the lines of people coming into the bank as tellers that are no longer needed. Most banks you go in today have one or two people working. And it's been ATMs and all that have been around long enough that we've gotten accustomed to it as a society. And I'm not saying it's the right thing. I agree with you. I really do. It's sad to see those people, those job opportunities gone, especially as we have a growing population.
Do you feel bad that cobblers aren't around anymore?
No, I mean, no. But
Who's going to fix your shoes, Dave?
the machine makes them now, so I throw the old ones away and get new ones.
It's a disposable society.
Yes. So anyway, I think that's going to pretty much wrap up today's episode. We have to get moving on to other things, but I want to thank everybody for being here.
You're welcome.
Still there, Matt?
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
All right. So thanks, guys. Have a good day.
See ya.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Dev Coaches Podcast. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit devcoaches.com and on Twitter @devcoaches. We'll catch you next time.